Assalamu alaikum students, I hope you are fine. I am Maria from Alliant High School and I am your teacher of science. In our last lecture we have learned about temperature and an instrument which is used to measure temperature. Temperature is the measure of degree of hotness and coldness of an object, and we use an instrument to measure the temperature which is called thermometer. Thermometer is used to measure the temperature of an object. We have learned about the different kinds of thermometer. In our today's session we will learn about heat. Now what is heat? Heat is a form of energy that can travel from high temperature to the lower temperature. Heat is a form of energy that can travel from hotter object to the colder object. For example, if we take a iron spoon, if we heat a iron spoon from one edge, few moments later, you can see that the other edge of the spoon also heated. It means heat travel from one edge of the spoon to the other edge of the spoon. Heat travels from high temperature of the spoon to the lower temperature of the spoon. Now the heat, it means the heat travels from high temperature to the lower temperature. There is a difference between heat and temperature. Temperature is the measure of degree of hotness and coldness of an object. It can be changed. If our body have a temperature, normal temperature 37 degrees Celsius. If a person get fever, the temperature will be changed. It will be a 99 degrees Celsius. It will be the 100 degrees Celsius. But the heat is the form of energy that can travel high temperature to the lower temperature and it will be unchanged. Now the sources of heat. Sources of heat. Now what are the sources of heat? If you heat a water from on a gas stove, the fire on a gas stove reach to the water. The gas which is burning on the gas stove is the source of heat. When the water boils on a gas stove, the burning of a gas stove is the source of heat. Now here is the two types of sources. Here is the two types of heat sources. First one is natural sources. Natural sources of heat. You know that the sun is the main source and natural source of heat and energy. Without sun, the living things on earth would not be able to survive because without sun the earth is too much cooler. And the next, volcanoes and geysers are also the natural sources of heat and energy. Volcanoes, what are volcanoes? Volcanoes are, it is a state or situation which is liable to erupt into a anger or violence. And volcanoes happen when magma rises onto the surface of the earth in the form of gas bubble that is appeared onto the surface of the earth. And next one is geysers. Now what are geysers? Geysers are it is a hot spring in which water intermittently boils. Now what is the meaning of intermittently? Intermittently means discontinuous. When the water discontinuously boils, it's called a geysers. And when the water boils, it mixes into air and makes the air steam. Now next one is man-made sources. And we can say that these are artificial sources. sources of heat. Man-made sources of heat, that can those sources that some person will made. For example, hair dryer, stove, oven, iron, toaster. These are man-made sources. Rice cooker. This is also man-made sources. And these sources are useful. Sometimes these sources are useful. For example, rice cooker and oven is used for cooking food, and electrical iron is used to iron the clothes. Next, students, can you identify the man-made sources around you? Look around you and enlist at least 10 man-made sources, and write these names on assignment page and send it to your relative teachers. And the next one is effect of temperature. Effect of temperature on human beings and animals. Now, what are the effects of temperature? How does temperature affects on human beings and animals? If you look on daily newspaper and internet, you will see the daily weather report. The daily weather will be changed. Now, the next topic is effect of temperature on human beings and animals. How temperature affects on human beings and animals. For example, temperature affects on human beings. Temperature affects how human beings and animals live. How animals and human beings live and survive. Effects of temperature, for example, in winter. Winter is too cold, and the temperature can drop to 0 degrees Celsius depending on where you live. For example, if you live in Murray, the temperature of Murray in winter is too much low. If you live in Murray, the temperature can drop on 0 degree Celsius. And in the summer, the temperature rises up to 40 degree Celsius, and it is also depending upon where you live. For example, if you live in Karachi, the temperature, Karachi is too much hot city. The temperature of Karachi rises up to 40 degrees Celsius in summer. It is the effect of temperature. Now, how we can survive ourselves? How the animals and human beings survive themselves by the effect of temperature. Now, here are the precautions. For the survival of human beings and animals. Precautions for human beings, and here is the precautions for winter. Here are some precautions for human beings. How human beings keep themselves warm in winter, and how they keep themselves cool in summer. For winter, we try to stay indoor for keep ourselves warm, and also we use thick clothing to keep ourselves warm. And for summer we try to keep indoors to protect heat, and we should use light clothes, and we should use air conditioners to keep our environment and to keep ourselves cool. And we use thick clothing in winter. And now question is that how the animals protect themselves in winter. Here's some precautions for animals. Precautions for animals. How animals survive in winter. Some animals fluff their feathers to keep warm, and some animals such as birds migrate or move from another places to during the winter arrives, and during the winter arrives they migrate to the other places, and when the winter off they move back on their places. And some animals such as marmot is an animal during winter they go into a sleep like state, and their heartbeat, their heart rate, their temperature rate and their body temperature will low, and they use less energy to drop their energy and go into a sleep like state. And now how the animals survive themselves in summer. Now how the animals protect themselves in summer. In summer the animals, some animals such as lizard, they stay in shade to cool ourselves, and some animals such as toad, they go into a sleep like state, and we can say that in summer we cannot see toad into a land. They go into a sleep like state and reduce to loss of water. Now temperature affects on human beings. Temperature affects how human beings and animals live and survival. If there is too much temperature is too hot or too cold, it is so difficult for human beings and for animals to survive, to live. Now we have to prevent the situation in which the temperature affects how human beings and animals live and survival. When the weather is very cold or very hot, it is very difficult for us and for animals to live and survive. We have to find ways to keep ourselves and to keep our surroundings not too much cold or not too much hot. Now students, I will recall my lecture. Today we have learned about heat. Now what is heat? Heat is a form of energy that can travel from high temperature to the lower temperature. Here is the difference between heat and temperature. Temperature is the measure of degree of hotness and coldness of an object, and it can be changed. But heat is the form of energy that can travel from high temperature to the lower temperature, and it cannot be changed. It can be unchanged. And now there is a sources of heat. When we boils water on a gas stove, the burning fire on a gas stove is a source of heat. Here is the two types of sources of heat: natural sources and man-made sources. Natural sources are we know that sun is the main and natural source of heat and energy. Without sun, on earth living things would not be able to survive. And there is two more natural sources, which are volcanoes and geysers. Now what are volcanoes? Volcanoes, it is a state or situation which is liable to erupt violence or anger. And volcano happen when magma rises onto the surface of the earth in the form of gas bubble appear on the surface of the earth. Now what are gases? Gases are it is a hot spring which is in which water intermittently means discontinuously boils. It is called geysers. Now man-made sources which we also call artificial sources. Man-made sources, the person made, it is called the instrument or a person made is called the man-made sources. Is the man-made sources toaster, hair dryer, gas stove, iron, cooker, oven. These are man-made sources. And now how the temperature affects on human beings. Now how the temperature affects on human beings and animals. Temperature affect how animals and human beings live and survive. Effects of temperature on human beings. For example, in winter is too much cold. During the temperature can drop on 0 degrees Celsius depending on where you live. For example, if you live in Murray, the temperature in winter can drop 0 degree Celsius. And same the summer, if you summer is too much hot and the temperature rises up to 40 degrees Celsius, and it is also depending upon that where you live. For example, if you live in Karachi is a too much hottest city. If you live in Karachi, the temperature in summer will be rises up to 40 degree Celsius. And here's some precautions for human beings, how we keep ourselves, how we survive ourselves in winter. In winter we can survive. We should use thick cloth, we should use heaters, and we should try to stay in homes to keep ourselves warm. And for summer we should use light cloths, we should use air conditioners, and we should stay home to keep ourselves cool. And how now we use clothes? The animals do not use clothes. Now how animals survive in winter and in summer? In winter, animals birds fluff their feathers to keep warm, and some animals such as birds migrate or move from other places during the winter arrives and move back when the winter off. And some animals such as marmot is an animal that go into a sleep-like state to use less energy. And in summer, some animals keep themselves cool. For example, lizards stay at a shade to keep themselves cool. And some animals such as toad stay into a sleep-like state to reduce the loss of water. Now students, here is assignment for you, how we can write some ways how we can survive the effect of temperature that is too much hot or too much cold. I hope all lecture is clear to you. Thank you.